So we have seen how the micro instruction indicates which are the control signals to be generated while that micro instruction is being loaded to the micro instruction register or the control data register. And also we have seen how the address generator decides what is the address of the next micro instruction to be executed based on the various inputs and update it to the microprogram counter or the control address register. And the microprogram counter or the control address register, which is driven by a clock, keep track of the micro instructions to be executed in proper sequence and with proper timing, and thereby the control signals are generated in proper sequence and with proper timing. Next, let's have a comparison of the hardwired control unit and the microprogrammed control unit. The hardwired control unit, as the name implies, generates the control signals with the help of hardware, and in microprogrammed control unit, we rely more on the software or the program to generate the control signals. And relying more on software than hardware make the microprogram system slow compared to that of the hardware control unit. And in hardwired control unit, once the instruction set is decided and the complex circuits are implemented using hardware, then any modification in the instruction set requires rewiring, and hence it will be very difficult. Hence the system is not flexible. But in microprogrammed approach, any changes in the instruction set just requires a write in the control memory in case the control memory is not ROM. And if it is ROM, also we can easily replace it. So the system is flexible compared to the hardwired approach. Due to the complex circuit designs involved, the hardware control unit is suitable for reduced instruction set, and for complex instruction set it's always better to go for microprogrammed control approach. Now let's compare horizontal microprogramming approach with vertical microprogramming approach. In horizontal microprogramming, within each micro instruction, we reserve one bit for every control signal. But in vertical approach, the signals are encoded with lesser number of bits. Hence, horizontal microprogramming leads to long micro instructions, and vertical microprogramming can lead to compact or shorter micro instructions. In horizontal microprogramming, the bits in the control field directly enable the control signal, so we do not need the help of any additional hardware or decoder. But in vertical approach, since the signals are encoded with lesser number of bits, we need to decode these bits back to identify the exact control signal represented by each combination of the bits. So we need the help of additional hardware or decoders. And in horizontal microprogramming, since we have a representation of every control signal in each micro instruction, the number of micro operations that can be specified within each micro instruction is large. By moving to vertical approach, each micro instruction specifies lesser number of micro operations, and by moving to vertical approach with fully encoding, within each micro instruction, one micro operation will be specified. So horizontal microprogramming allows high level of parallelism. This parallelism reduces as we move to the vertical approach, and in vertical approach with fully encoding, this parallelism level reduces to 0. Also, since here each micro instruction implies one micro operation, the number of micro instructions required in the micro program may increase in vertical approach, but the micro instructions will be shorter and compact. And horizontal microprogramming is fast. The vertical microprogramming is slow compared to horizontal microprogramming because of the use of additional hardware or decoder. And both these horizontal and vertical microprogramming are slower compared to the hardwired control unit approach. And here this is simple and easy to implement. Here the use of decoders or additional hardware make the implementation a little complex. Even then compared to hardware control unit approach, it is flexible. Now let's have a general overview of the typical micro instruction formats which will help to solve the question based on microprogram control. Basically, the micro instruction consists of the control signal field, the address field, and the condition field. The control signal field or the micro operation field we have already discussed either follows a horizontal approach or a vertical approach. In horizontal approach, we will serve one bit for every control signal. In vertical approach, the signals are encoded with lesser number of bits. So suppose there are n control signals. The number of bits in horizontal microprogramming is n, and in vertical microprogramming with fully encoding approach, the number of bits is log n to the base 2 or C log n to the base 2. Now about the condition field. Some systems in addition to the condition field make use of one field called branch field. Why? Because in our discussions we considered only the jump as the branch, but actually the branch can be of different type. Some microprograms employ subroutines as well. So a branch can be a conditional branch or a conditional jump or unconditional jump or even a subroutine call, or the mapping based on the opcode can also be considered as a branch. So branching can be of different type. So based on this condition, make a conditional jump to the address given in the control word, or based on the condition, make a subroutine call to the address given in the control word. Thus, the branch field specifies what type of branch it is. For each type of branch, the next address may vary, and also the steps to be undertaken will be different. For example, for subroutine call, we need to keep track of the return address as well. For jump, we can just jump to the given address. So the branch field is used in conjunction with the condition field to decide whether a branch should be made to the address given in the control word. Now, the number of bits in the condition field depends upon the number of condition code flags or the number of inputs to the multiplexer. Suppose there are F condition code flags or F inputs to the multiplexer, then the number of bits in the condition field is log F to the base 2, C log F to the base 2. And this address field also may follow different format. Some systems make use of a single address field similar to the one we have discussed. There will be only one address field. If the condition is satisfied, make a branch to the address. Otherwise, can go for the next micro instruction in sequence, which can be obtained by incrementing the control address register or the microprogram counter, or choose an address based on some other decisions. Instead, some systems make use of a two address field. Here, the address field consists of two fields, address 1 and address 2. If the condition is satisfied, make a branch to address 2, else choose address 1. Thus here the number of bits reserved for the address field is more, and some systems even make use of a variable format, because in most micro instructions the address field will not be used at all. So the variable field format use two kinds of micro instructions. Some micro instructions contain only the control bits. The address field will not be present. And the other type of micro instruction contains the address field as well. Anyway, the number of bits in the address field, the number of bits in each address field depend upon the size of the control memory or the number of micro instructions. Suppose there are k number of micro instructions, then the number of bits required in the control field is C log k to the base 2.